Hi, this is Rachelle with Scrapcraftastic, and I had a few requests asking me to show how I made my Vellum dashboards or wraparounds for my A6 Traveler's Notebook. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and I will be using Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop or are unfamiliar with it, you can use whatever graphics editing software you normally would use. Many of the concepts or ideas would be the same. It's just the software is different. If you have special effects that you would like to use in your software, you can do that. This isn't really a Photoshop tutorial. I'm just showing you how I pull in the graphics and place them to create the dashboards. I'll be using the December kit from Fabulously Creative, and I may pull from some of the other kits and other digitals that I have from Fabulously Creative. So the first thing we need to do is create our artboard. I always, if it's something that I'm going to print in Photos from Photoshop, I use the print option. And then I'm going to go in and put it in the size that I want. Now, since my notebook, even though it's a personal size notebook cover, I'm using A6 inserts and A6 elements inside of it. So I'm going to go with A6 sizes. And for A6, I am using 4 by 6. So I would need to double the width because I want this piece of vellum to wrap around one of my inserts. So I'm going to change the width to 8. And just to make sure I have enough, I'm going to go ahead and change it to 8.25. So that gives me an extra eighth of an inch on either side. You can consider that bleed or just a little wiggle room, or to account for any thickness of the insert. So I'm giving myself an extra 1/4 inch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the height, even though it's not really necessary. It's nice to have that, again, wiggle room. So instead of just 6 inches, I'm going to do 6.25 inches, and that gives me 1/8 inch on top and bottom, just in case. Then I'm going to change the color mode from RGB to CMYK. If you like to work in RGB, that's fine. Your printer prints in CMYK. So for this, since this is not anything seriously professional that I'm doing here, I'm going to go ahead and go with CMYK. I'm going to leave the background white. You could do transparent or whatever color you choose. I'm just going to stick with the white. And I'm going to hit create. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is my artboard, is drag a rule or a guide to the center of the page, which is 4 inches. For this first one, I'm going to use some of the covers or dashboards that were already created by Fabulously Creative in the December kit. So I'm going to use this party 2, and it should pull it in. You can drag and drop into Photoshop. It will keep the image linked to the original image. So if you accidentally delete that original image, this file will not have it in it, will not have that image. So either you can drag and keep them linked, or you can drag and drop and unlink them. I will eventually probably unlink this. So I'm always moving files around, and I don't want my file to disappear. So this version had a border around it, and it also didn't fill the space. So I just held down my shift key and pulled it out to keep it in proportion, to make it a little bit bigger, so that that border would not show on the page. So there, that one is ready to go. Now let's put, this is the front and this is the back. Let's pull in another one to put on the back. I'm going to use boxes. And when you pull it in, drag and drop like this, it automatically fits the space. So you don't have to do a whole lot of resizing. And I think I like that there, so I'm just going to leave it. Now, I could save it like this. Let's see, file, save as. Your computer, dashboard 1. I had already tried this once before, and it wasn't recording, so we're doing it again. You could print this just like this from Photoshop. You could save it as a PDF or a JPEG file. However you want to do it. You could change the color. I do need to adjust this a little bit. You could change the color, make it black and white, change the saturation. There's any number of things that you can do. to customize it. You could add your own text, whatever you choose. I'm going to leave the look of it like this, but I want it to have more of a faded look and not so many sharp edges. So what I'm going to do is unlock the background. Might as well use that because I don't really need it. You can't see it. So I'm going to drag it to the top. Then I'm going to change the width of it. Oh, wait, I did something wrong. Okay, so since this isn't, I didn't think of it. That's why my rule wasn't lining up right. I need to put the rule at 4.125 to be exactly in the center. So I'm going to have to do some adjusting. Right. Because I wasn't allowing for the extra quarter of an inch. So let's adjust the center. And if you ever have an issue with finding the center, let me show you an easy way to do it. So this was our background. That's what made me notice that it wasn't, my rule wasn't in the center. So if you have a problem finding the center on your artboard, do a layer of just one color, then select to transform that layer, and this middle square here will show you, oops, will show you where the center of the page is. Okay, so that's how I noticed that. Wait a minute, that wasn't in the center. All right, so now I'm dragging the edge of the box to one side of my design, and I'm going to use the uh, elliptical marquee tool and select an oval area just inside of the white space, and then I'm going to delete that oval and deselect. Then I'm going to use the blur filter to blur the white layer, and I'm just going to use Gaussian blur. I did like 89.9. I think that's fine. I'm going to leave it like that. But you see how it softens it. You don't have those hard edges anymore like this one. So I like that softened look, and I think it will work well on the vellum. So I'm going to duplicate that layer, flip it horizontally. So edit, transform, flip horizontal. And then I'm going to slide it over to the other side, like so. And there's other ways you could do this. This is just what works for me. It's quick and easy. And I'm just going to save that. And that's ready to print. So let's go on and do another one. This one, we're just going to use some of the individual graphic elements. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to do 8.25 by 6.25. And the color is going to be stay CMYK, and create with the white background. Now this time, let's get the rule in the right place, 4.125, and decide what elements we're going to use. Okay, so I want to use Cozy, so I'm going to drag her in, and I want to use, let's see, I want to use this Merry and Bright. And I think I want to use the ornament 1 background. And for ornament 1, I'm going to flip it. Let's see, edit. It might not make a difference, but let's see. I'm going to flip it vertical, and then I'm going to flip it horizontal to get the elements in the area that I want. Okay, so let's pull that in. I'm going to put that towards the back as the background. For the Merry and Bright, I am going to go ahead and convert that to layers so that I can work on it here. And I'm going to do the magic, what is this called? Magic wand tool to select that background color. I don't want that there. And then I'm just going to go into each part of the script where that color is still showing and delete it. I have to zoom in on this one to get it. Okay. So now we just have the plain Merry and Bright. And let's see, I want to also pull in the gifts because I want to get a color. Oops. Because I want to get a color from those gifts. Where are they? There they are. Okay, let's pull those in. We probably won't use these on the front, but I want that green color. Okay, so I'm just going to reduce the size of that. Merry and Bright needs to be reduced to about like that. And I'm going to change the color by going to layer style and doing a color overlay. And then I'm just going to sample the color of the box. And that's going to change the color. Oh, I missed something on the Merry and Bright that I didn't delete. Let's delete that. I just know where that color was, so I know where to select. There we go. All right, that's better. So our Merry and Bright is ready. I am going to also flip her because even though I usually like my dolls or whatever, I'm using to kind of face the way that you want the viewer's eye to go or the page to turn, so to speak. I'm going to break the rule and flip her to look the other way. So I'm going to transform, flip horizontal, and I'm going to put her over here, kind of off the edge. So you won't see her coffee, but that's okay. And as she has the legs cut off, instead of just having her floating there on the page where you can see that, I put her down to the bottom edge so that you don't see she doesn't have any legs. Okay, so it just looks like she's part of the page. Now I can hide the gifts for now because I don't need those. And let's work on the background. So I'm going to fade this background out a little bit because I don't necessarily want it behind the Merry and Bright, but maybe I can get around that. Let's see. Let's adjust the Merry and Bright. Make it a little smaller and go ahead and add a glow to it. I think that works. And then I'm also going to add a glow to her. This is all preference. I'm just kind of showing you how I do it. And then I'm going to change the look of my ornaments background, add some white to it by erasing some of it. So I'm using a mask layer. I'm using an eraser tool with a soft edge. So let's just erase that part and that part, which is probably unnecessary because I'm going to use that same blur technique that I did here. And I'm just going to drag one of those over and use that. Let's see. Whoops. Let's go ahead and save this as dashboard 2. All right, now let's line up this faded blur piece. Okay, so there we go, Merry and Bright. I'm gonna put the Merry on top so that it's not covered up by the blur and that it stands out. Okay, so that's the front of the dashboard. Now let's do the back. And the good thing about this is if you want to use this as a tip-in instead of wrapping around your inserts, all you have to do is cut it down the middle and you'd have 2 separate pieces that you can tip in or punch and use in whatever planner or notebook journal you're using. So you have options. All right, let's see what we want to do with the back side. I kind of want to do the fashion, but there's no shoes this time. Or boots. But I would kind of like this dress. Let's pull it in and see what else I have from previous um, kits. I like this calendar. So let's resize that down a little bit. I don't know that it goes, but we have it in there just in case. Then there was a purse. When was the purse? The purse was in September. Oh, she's cute too. Let's drag her over. I may get rid of the dress. No, I'll use her. Let's go back and get the purse. So we're gonna use the purse. And when were the boots? Was that October? I'm gonna have to go back and look for those boots. That was November. Oh, perfect. Let's use these boots from November. And this is an example of me not pulling it in. Oh, and we can use this. November had a lot of options. So let's use those elements. So that's the doily and the boots. These are denim boots. We're gonna turn them pink, I think. Let's drag the doily on over here too, so we'll have it, and I can close these. All right, let's hide the purse, the doily, and the calendar. Let's move all of this up. I don't need the camera girl, so let's get rid of her. All right, let's save this because we made quite a few changes. Let's work on these boots. So I'm going to make my main color the color in this dress. So I'm just going to select that. Let's make it a little more pink. Maybe it's not going to let me. That looks too orange. Let's see. Let's go back to this original pink. Let's use that. Okay. Well, let's see if we can change the color of the boots. So I'm going to select the boots and then go to image adjustments and go to hue and saturation. And I'm going to say colorize. And what that does is colorize the boots using whatever is in my foreground color. And you can play around with the color here. So you can lighten it, which I don't like that. You can change the saturation. You can change the actual color. See that? Kind of like that. I think I'm going with that. All right, so these also have a white outline around them. So let's get rid of that. Just select it and delete with the magic wand tool. Get rid of that. All right, so I think those are gonna work. Then I could always go to brightness and contrast and yeah, change them up a little bit. There we go. I think I like that even better. Okay, pinkity pink. So we got the boots. We have the dress. What other? Oh, I like the jacket though. We might have, oh, and this jacket. See, there's too many options to choose from. I might change to this coat instead of the dress. So I really like the coat too. Let's see. So we got the coat and we got the dress. Let's make the boots a little smaller. Let's look at the coat again. Oops. And where are those gifts? Let's move those up here to this side as well. They just don't go. Okay, nope. Purse. Purse doesn't really go either. Okay. As much as I love the coat, it does not go. Let's look at the other coat, and then we're going to make a decision. Let's get this fa la 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 in there, even though it doesn't match. It could work. Okay. And then do a little savey save. Oops, don't want that. Want this right here. Yeah, I think that looks much better. And let's put that behind. And then for the fa la 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 la, let's make a copy of it. And let's embed that copy, convert to layer. Yes. And use the magic wand tool, select, get rid of that background. And we need to restart my computer. Just delete all these pieces. And then let's tilt that a little bit. No, let's see what it looks like. Zoom out. Will they change the command? Okay. No, I don't want to tilt it. Just leave it as is. Adjust the size of the jacket or the coat. Or move it over just a hair. And then let's do something about these boots. They still look huge in comparison. But we're not trying to be completely 100% accurate. We're just going for a look. Okay. I think that's good. So this is an example of the dashboard with a background. This is without. I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and print them out on Vellum. And then we are going to trim them down and see what they look like in the notebook. Printing, I'll just go to File, Print. I'm not doing anything special. Choose my printer. You can tell it to put corner crop marks. It's not really necessary, but I'm going to go ahead and put them. And then you can change your print settings here. I want to just print normal. I don't want best quality because that puts too much ink on the vellum. So I stick with this normal, and then I'm just going to hit print. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. And then we will meet up in the craft lab at the desk. All right, so here we are with the printed vellum pieces. This is the first one that we did. And then here is the second one where we use the different pieces. This one uses the backgrounds or dashboards that came with the December kit. And just for reference, this is what they look like at full size and without any effects. So that was that one. And here is the other one. So they're very nice as is actually. Okay, so I've already recorded this once. My mic was not on. I've been having issues with my mic, or maybe I'm just having a not so great recording day, but I decided to do it over again. So I've already tipped in this one into my Stalogy, but I will show it to you again. All right, so let's go ahead and trim these up and get them ready to go. So this one I am going to use as a wrap around and insert. So let's start with this one with the trimming. And as I mentioned before, I don't trim all the way off. I just trim from cut mark to cut mark. That way I keep my marks on all 4 sides visible while I am trimming. And the vellum is kind of slippery, so have to be a little more careful. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and do this one. Now this one I'm going to do into individual dashboards instead of a wraparound so that I can tip them in. All right, now let's trim it in the center because we want 2 separate pieces for this one, and there is no cut line, but I can tell where the center is because of where the graphics on the Merry and Bright side end. So I'm just lining those up on my paper trimmer and cutting. So there we go. I may need that again because I think that I may need to do some trimming. All right, I'm gonna need my corner rounder. Let's get that out. So this is the one that I want to wrap around, and I'm going to wrap it around 2023. So let's take the 2023 insert out, and I still need to go back and do my dashboard inserts. These are still with a fall look, so I need to change the paper and give it more of a Christmas look or December or winter look. I might do winter. So this is just to wrap around like this. It's a little tall, so maybe I should trim off about a 1/4 of an inch. Let me mark it instead of just guesstimating. Go ahead and fold this like so carefully, then line it up with the notebook and mark it. And I think I'm going to stop using that paper trimmer because it does not cut straight. It goes back and forth. Sometimes it cuts straight, sometimes it doesn't. All right, so let's use this one. We'll line it up with the wire and cut. I need a new blade, but at least this one cuts straight. The other one cuts straight sometimes. Here we go. So this wraps around here like so. I think it looks pretty nice. Subtle Christmas. And let's go ahead and put this back in. Right here. All right, so there we go. I think that looks really nice right there. For the Merry and Bright, I'd already tipped it in here because when I did my last video. So since I already showed how to do that one, I'm just gonna skip a page or 2 and go and tip in the fa la 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 version. So it's still a little too tall for the page because this is a true A6, and this true A6 is not really 4x6. That's just the Americanized version since we are still doing the imperial system. I think that's what it's called. So I need to trim it down a little bit. Just make sure I got this on here straight. Just trim where my little tick marks are. Then I'm going to take the corner rounder and round the right side, since I'm tipping it in on the right side of the page, like so. So it's going to fit right here, I hope. Like that. Nice. I'm going to be using 1/8 inch double-sided tape And I will link to the vellum and the tape in the description box below. Make sure that is stuck to the vellum as well as possible. Then I'm going to go ahead and peel it off. Now this went smoothly the first time. I hope it goes smoothly the second time. So I'm just going to slide that down with the tape side up. Make sure that it's lined up. And then bring it over. Try to bring it over straight. Not like me. Bring that over. And make sure that's secure on the page. And then that is what it looks like. The vellum. I think it turned out nice. So here's the Merry and Bright that I had already put in. And here is the fa la 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 la. I think they turned out great. So again, this is the one using the actual dashboards that came with the December kit from Fabulously Creative. And then this is what I created using the graphic elements from Fabulously Creative. And I think they all turned out really nice. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. You may be interested in these other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.